This week, Anthropic shipped two updates that almost no one outside enterprise security teams is talking about. Amplitude shipped a design agent in 2 days because of them. Clay's Sculptor agent runs on them. Rogo's institutional finance analyst was built on them. Mason rebuilt its internal tooling stack on them. DoorDash is evaluating them for agentic commerce. The two updates are called self hosted sandboxes and MCP tunnels. Together, they solve the number one reason every enterprise pilot of an AI agent has died at the security review for the last 18 months. The blocker is not the model. The blocker is not the prompt. The blocker is that the agent platform runs the tools. So every time your agent reads a customer record, writes to your database, or calls your internal API, your data leaves your network and lands on the vendor's servers. Your CISO says no. Your compliance team says no. The pilot dies. Today, I'll show you exactly what Anthropic just shipped: the architecture, the 4 sandbox providers, what 5 real companies are shipping with it right now, and the 7-question checklist your team should run before you turn it on. Stay till the end. The eval checklist is on screen. Here is the part nobody wants to say out loud. Most enterprise AI pilots die at the same meeting. The model demo goes great. The eval scores are fine. Then the security architect joins the call. And they ask one question: where does the tool execution run? When an agent reads a row from your customer database, where does that query happen? When an agent writes a Jira ticket, where does that request originate? When an agent reads from your internal wiki, who sees the page contents? For every managed agent platform until last week, the answer was the same. It runs on the vendor's servers. Your data leaves your VPC, lands on the vendor's compute, gets processed there, and then a result comes back. Your CISO hears that and says, "You have just described a data exfiltration channel that you want me to approve." The pilot ends. Not because the model is wrong, because the architecture is wrong. Every Fortune 500 evaluation of agent platforms has stalled on this exact question. SOC2 is not enough. HIPAA is not enough. The fix has to be architectural. The vendor cannot be the one running the tools. What that Anthropic just shipped is the architectural answer. They split the agent into 2 layers. The orchestration layer, the part that does the reasoning, planning, and tool selection, stays on Anthropic's infrastructure. That is the Claude model itself. The execution layer, the part that actually runs the tools, talks to your databases, hits your APIs, reads your files, moves to a sandbox you control. Not Anthropic's sandbox, your sandbox. The compute is yours. The network policies are yours. The audit logs are yours. The runtime image is yours. Anthropic sees the tool call go out and the tool result come back. They do not see your data flow through the tool. Then they paired that with a second move: MCP tunnels, a way for the orchestration layer to talk to an MCP server that lives behind your firewall, using one outbound connection initiated by you. No inbound firewall holes, no public endpoints. The traffic is end-to-end encrypted. Self-hosted sandboxes are in public beta as of this week. MCP tunnels are in research preview. Both are managed from the Cloud console. Together, they answer the security architect's question with a clean line. Tool execution runs in your infrastructure. Tool data never leaves it. Let's break down self-hosted sandboxes. The agent orchestrator on Anthropic's side decides a tool needs to run. Instead of running it on Anthropic compute, it sends the tool invocation to a sandbox you configured. That sandbox spins up, executes the tool, returns the result, and tears down. You pick the sandbox provider. Four are supported on day one: Cloudflare, Daytona, Modal, Vercel. Cloudflare gives you micro VMs and isolates with zero trust secret injection. Customizable proxies on the network layer. You can route every outbound call through Cloudflare's policies. Daytona gives you full composable computers, long running and stateful, SSH access if you need it, preview URLs for any port. This is the closest thing to a real developer machine running inside the sandbox. Modal is the AI workloads option, sub-second cold start, GPU or CPU on demand, built for spiky agent traffic where you might run 100 tools in a minute and then nothing for an hour. Vercel ships VM level isolation with VPC peering and millisecond startup. The Vercel sandbox firewall can inject credentials at the network boundary, which means the agent never sees the secret. The credential is added by the network layer after the request leaves the sandbox. You can mix and match different tools, different providers. The decision is yours, and you can change it without changing the agent. Now, MCP tunnels, Model Context Protocol, is the standard Anthropic shipped last year for connecting agents to tools and data sources. Most teams have built MCP servers for their internal systems by now. Their Postgres, their Snowflake, their Salesforce, their Notion, their Linear. The problem is exposing those MCP servers to a hosted agent platform. You either push them out to the public internet behind a strong auth layer, which your security team will hate, or you set up a VPN, which is complex and brittle. MCP tunnels solve this with a lightweight gateway. You install the gateway inside your network. The gateway opens a single outbound connection to Anthropic. That connection is end-to-end encrypted. The Claude orchestrator talks to your MCP server through that tunnel. No inbound firewall rules, no public endpoints. The MCP server stays exactly where it was, behind your firewall. To your network, it looks like a single, outbound HTTPS connection. To Anthropic, it looks like a private MCP server. To your security team, it looks like the architecture they actually wanted from day one. Let's go through what 5 companies are actually shipping. Amplitude first. They built a design agent that generates on-brand mockups inside their product. The architecture uses Cloudflare sandboxes. Their head of design, Will Newton, said, quote, Claude Managed Agents and Cloudflare let us get the first useful version of our design agent running in 2 days. End quote. 2 days from scratch. The reason is that the brand assets, the design tokens, the component library, all sensitive product data, never had to leave Amplitude's environment. The Cloudflare sandbox executed every tool call. Anthropic's orchestrator decided what to call. That separation is what collapsed the 2-month security review into a 2-day shipping cycle. This is the unlock for every consumer product team that has been told they cannot ship an AI feature because the security review will take a quarter. The architecture takes the review off the critical path. Amplitude is the proof. 2 days in production on Cloudflare. Next, Clay. Clay is a GTM engineering platform used by sales and growth teams to enrich leads and orchestrate outbound. They built an agent called Sculptor that runs go-to-market workflows on top of their data graph. Sculptor runs on Daytona sandboxes. Ryan Chang from Clay's AI engineering team said, quote, Claude Managed Agents let us replicate the power of a local agent with the reliability, versioning, and background execution of a cloud agent. End quote. Read that line again. Local power, cloud reliability. That is the exact trade off that has killed enterprise agent rollouts. Local agents are powerful because they can touch everything, but they break when the user closes their laptop. Cloud agents are reliable but castrated by the security perimeter. Daytona sandboxes inside Claude Managed Agents are the architectural fix. The agent runs in a full composable computer that lives inside Clay's environment. It can SSH around. It can hold state. It survives across sessions. But it answers to Anthropic's orchestrator, which means the prompt engineering and the model upgrades happen the cloud way. Rogo. Rogo builds analyst agents for institutional finance, hedge funds, banks, asset managers. The financial sector has the strictest data residency rules in the entire enterprise market. PII, MNPI, client positions. None of it can leave the customer's compliance boundary. Rogo's analyst agent runs on Vercel sandboxes. Their head of product, Strip Walker, said, quote, Claude Managed Agents handles the model, tools, and session state, while the Vercel sandbox firewall injects credentials at the network boundary. End quote. That second half is the key. The Vercel sandbox firewall injects credentials at the network boundary. The agent code never sees the secret. The model never sees the secret. The credential is added by the network layer after the request has left the sandbox container. If the agent gets prompt injected, the worst it can do is craft a malicious request. It still cannot exfiltrate the secret because the secret was never inside the sandbox. This is the credential pattern every security team has been begging for. Rogo is shipping it in institutional finance. Mason. Mason is building agents that orchestrate internal tools for enterprise customers, provisioning, ticket triage, reporting. They picked Modal for their sandbox layer. Modal is the cloud AI compute platform. Sub-second cold start. CTO Sai Yandapalli said, quote, Modal's sandbox gives us the security boundary our enterprise customers need. End quote. Enterprise customers. Plural. Mason is the case study for vendors who themselves sell to enterprises. The Modal sandbox becomes the answer they hand to their own customers' security teams. And then DoorDash. DoorDash is evaluating Claude Managed Agents for agentic commerce. The agent that orders the food, picks the right restaurant, manages the delivery, talks to the merchant. That use case touches payment data, customer addresses, and merchant relationships. Every piece of that has to stay in DoorDash's compliance perimeter. Modal sandboxes give them a way to run that agent without the data ever leaving their boundary. 5 companies, 4 providers. The pattern is the same in every single one. Now the operator add-on. The 7 questions your team should run before you turn this on. 1. Which provider matches your existing infrastructure? If you already run on Cloudflare workers, pick Cloudflare. If you run on Vercel, pick Vercel. If you have AI workloads on Modal, pick Modal. Reuse the security review you already did. 2. What is your audit log destination? Self-hosted sandboxes give you the audit log. Decide if it ships to your SIEM, your data lake, or both before you go live. 3. How are credentials injected? The Rogo pattern, network boundary injection, is the gold standard. If your provider supports it, use it. If not, use a secrets manager that the sandbox pulls from at runtime. Never put a secret in a prompt. 4. Which MCP servers will you tunnel? Inventory the internal MCP servers you have. Decide which ones go through tunnels in the first phase. Start with one. 5. What is the blast radius if a single tool call goes wrong? Self hosted sandboxes are tear down per call by default. Use that. Do not switch to persistent sandboxes until you have a reason. 6. What is your fallback when the sandbox is unavailable? The agent should fail closed, not retry on Anthropic's infrastructure. Make sure your config enforces that. 7. What is the rollback plan? The console makes it one click to disable the sandbox and revert to Anthropic hosted tools. Document who has that button. The architecture is new. The operator discipline is not. Quick, honest ask. 90% of people watching this haven't subscribed yet. If this has helped you in your AI journey, please subscribe and support the channel. I make these videos because the AI world moves too fast for most people to keep up. And I want builders like you to stay ahead. One click. It is free. It helps me keep making these. I put everything in this video into a one-page enterprise eval playbook. The 7-question checklist with deeper notes on each. The 4 provider decision matrix mapped to use cases. The architecture diagram for self-hosted sandboxes. The MCP tunnel deployment pattern. The credential injection rules. The objection handling guide for the conversation with your security team. Comment the word VAULT below this video and I will send you the PDF. Huge credit to Anthropic for shipping the architecture the enterprise market has actually been asking for, and to the teams at Amplitude, Clay, Rogo, Mason, and DoorDash for putting it in production. Links to all of them and to the Claude platform docs are in the description. If you want to go deeper on Claude Code, Codex, or building agents that ship, the 4 guides linked below are everything I have learned shipping production agents. I will see you in the next one.